So I'm Mark Doherty and we are in Friarsbrush Cemetery in the Stranmillis area of South Belfast, quite close to the university. This is a particularly poignant site that we're at now. This is one of 3 famine graveyards in the Greater Belfast area. The other 2 are in Shankill and in Clifton Street. So this one has a memorial on it. And this memorial, I don't know how this came about. It was financed by the government of the Republic of Ireland. And you see it memorialises 800 people who are interred here, who died during Black 47, during the very worst year of the potato famine. So if you look at the mound, it's just a rough piece of ground. And although it mentions 800 there, I'm not sure what the rationale for that is. There are thousands here. This opened as a pauper's plot for beggars found in the street or very poor people coming up to the gate and saying, we have no money, we have nothing. This was a ground for a modest burial for poor people. And it opened in 1829. By 1832, there was a cholera epidemic. It raged back and forward both sides of the Atlantic for many years. Many people in Belfast died at that time. And they were brought here, and it is said that the bodies were piled at the back of the cemetery and burned, and then the remains that were left were buried in this plot. Then, come 1845 and onwards, during the many waves and years of the famine, the victims of the famine were brought from the workhouse. Belfast City Hospital sits there now. They were brought straight from there and buried here. No social niceties, no bringing the remains home, no services in churches, because these were people who were diseased, typhus, cholera, many other conditions, and they then were interred here quickly in a very modest burial, in effectively a mass grave. So there's thousands of poor people with no names buried here. We know nothing of them. They are now very much in the past, and all we have to remember them is this piece of rough ground. But this sad story doesn't end here. We're just going to go to the far side of the gate lodge to visit one last grave. So we have here quite a large, well-incised headstone, and this is of the Murray family. And there's one name I want to point out in particular, D. Murray Surgeon, who departed this life 29th of May 1847, aged 56 years. So this man was Dr. Daniel Murray. And Daniel Murray himself was actually treating victims of famine when he caught typhus from them and died of that condition. So I've no doubt he was treating many of the people who are buried in the large famine plot at the other side of this little gate lodge. And then this poor man who was trying to help them, he succumbed, and he also is buried in this cemetery. And I think it's quite touching. The stone itself, this is the base of it, it's broken off. It had fallen. But this tree has raised up and held that stone to show the story of Dr. Daniel Murray Surgeon to us.